All right, guys, we're going to be talking about RDSPs, okay, Registered Disability Savings Program, okay? So a lot of times people have heard about all the other accounts, RRSPs, RESPs. This is kind of a new one, RDSP, okay? And this is specifically for people with disabilities. And the not the only thing, but the biggest thing, okay, is that you need to be receiving the disability tax credit in order to open one of these accounts. Okay, so a lot of people know about the disability tax credit because it's a great way to get money back on your taxes. It's kind of this instant, really great thing because they'll reassess you back the last 10 years and you'll get kind of a lump sum, and then all future taxes are reduced. Okay, so a lot of people will apply for the disability tax credit. Anybody who has that tax credit can also open an RDSP account. And why this is so huge and so impactful is that depending on your income, there could be $1,000 a year available, totally free. That's called a bond, okay? That $1,000 a year just automatically gets put into the account, and that goes back 10 years as well. They'll reassess what your income's been for the last 10 years, and then they'll just deposit those funds into an account. I have seen where I've had a client, I opened the account for them, we were running a $25 contribution, and then all of a sudden, the last 10 years of bonds were paid out, and the balance, even though they'd only contributed about $75 at that point, the balance of their account was $10,075 as an example, okay? So that's not every situation, that's one situation that I had because everybody's situation is very different. It is very dependent on your income, okay? But at the minimum, at the absolute minimum, when you contribute to that RDSP account, you will get a 100% match. Just like RSP matching at an employer where, you put in $100, they put in $100, okay? RDSPs, when you put in $100, at the minimum, the government will put in $100. That's if you're in the highest earning income bracket, okay? If you are in a lower income bracket, okay, and when I say lower income, the threshold is quite high. I believe it's in the 80s for a family. The government will contribute up to 300%. Okay, so that means you put in $100 and the government is going to put in $300. Okay, so if you think about how impactful that is for people with disabilities trying to save, it's absolutely massive. Okay, how do we get this money back in the future? Okay, you can't just put in $100, the government puts in $300, and then you go cash $400 out the next month, right? It doesn't work like that. The government bonds and grants, they need to stay vested, okay? Just means in the account. They have to stay vested, and I like to say invested because if we have to leave them there for a certain period of time, why wouldn't we invest them, okay? They have to stay in that account for 10 years before you can start taking out the money that is associated with earning that bond or grant and the bonds and grants themselves, okay? So great long-term savings vehicle for anybody who gets the disability tax credit, okay? This is really powerful, maybe for members of your family, but also members of the community, okay? Because the reality is, of everybody in Canada who gets the disability tax credit, only 28% of those people have an RDSP account open. And they don't have this account open because they don't know it exists. They don't know how to open it, or it's just really confusing. They shut down and they just don't get it done because they're busy, there's time. I mean, they have crazy lives, okay? So how we help with that is we, number one, try to educate. And I say refer. A lot of times an accountant might not know that it exists. Doctor's offices definitely don't know they've existed. I've talked to many, but banks aren't promoting them. A lot of bankers don't know that they exist, and they're very paperwork heavy and pay small commissions, okay? And I always just say, anybody who's a teacher's assistant or works with anybody with disabilities, they don't get paid enough. And it's because they don't want people preying off of this demographic of people, okay? So please bring it to us so we can help you. We're willing to do the paperwork. We're willing to help people out. And yes, it might be for a lower commission or a lower, fee, but at the end of the day, we just want to make sure people are taken care of and getting access to funds that are out there. Okay? So please refer to people because they don't know it exists. The industry is not selling them. Okay, the industry is not selling them because they're not profitable. They'd much rather sell you life insurance or some other product that's going to make them big commissions. Okay, so they're not going to be sold. So refer people, bring it up to people, talk to people about it. I also think that sometimes your banker is just not like, hey, are you getting the disability tax credit? It's just sometimes a bit of a challenging conversation to bring up. But there is thousands and thousands of dollars of government dollars on the table to help people with these long-term savings.